So I graduated actually in 2017 from my master's. And right before I graduated, right before I defended, I was working at 360 as a junior software developer. I was working in the data and analytics team. I was hired to do visualization, and through a whole bunch of career changes, or not career changes, but like just transfers and showing what I can do, I was able to get myself promoted to head of data science in 2021. So that's where I'm at right now. But I'm actually gonna take you on my journey from 2017 to today, over kind of like one use case of like, what it's like to kind of enter and then make mistakes and learn from them. And I'm hoping that, by sharing, my mistakes with you all, you don't make the same mistakes, because, stand on the shoulders of giants. And that's kind of like a big thing. Like when you come out of university, you're going to be so empowered. You know all the latest tools. You are, hot, like, and when I came out, like I published papers. I'm like, yes, I've been peer reviewed. I'm like, awesome. I know my stuff. And then it was really like eye-opening to start working and realize that industry has this whole thing called like best practices. And they're all geared towards industry problems. And some of the design patterns that industry uses to solve these problems go against just about everything that you learn. So it was a really big pill for me to swallow, especially with data modeling and databases and stuff like that. Like in computer science, you're hammered with like, third norm form. That works great for, a certain use case, but it doesn't work very well for other use cases. So that was really big pill to swallow. But with that being said, what you learn in university, you need to know. You're learning the fundamentals that you need to know to be able to comprehend and grow in industry. Without university, like, it would be pretty tough. I'm not going to lie. It would be very tough, but it's not enough. And you will always have to continue learning. The tools are always changing. There's like every 5 years, there's something new, or even every year. And then even that tool will like change. I mean, Python's changed so much. Anyway, I'm going to go on lots of tangents because that's what I do. In terms of data, so back in 2017, I'm brand new to the company. I focused all my time to learning everything about the data points that was coming into 360, because it was going to be my job to build visualizations and, share those visualizations with people. So I'm going to tell you a little bit of our data so that you can have a little bit of context in my little use case scenario. So 360 Insights is a sales channel incentive company. I'm sorry if this sounds like a sales pitch. I'm not a salesperson, but we are desperate to hire people. So I'm going to say that. So in the sales channel, you've got manufacturers that manufacture products like dishwashers, tires, like you name it, technology things. We've got distributors that will take product from the manufacturers and then distribute it to the retailers. The retailers are your stores, your big box stores and whatever. They have sales associates in those stores that sell to you. So guess what? You're in the sales channel. Without even buying into it, you're in it. And we get all of this data. We get all of this data because anytime a product moves from one entity in the sales channel to another, there is an opportunity to incentivize that transaction to happen. We want distributors to buy product in bulk from manufacturers. So manufacturers be like, hey, you know what? If you don't buy one of these to sell off and instead buy 10, we'll give you a kickback. We'll give you a little bit of money kickback. And then same with the retailers. If the retailers sell a lot, then, they'll get a kickback. Your sales associate, they get what's called a spiff. And a spiff is like a little incentive to the sales associate to make that sale a little spiffy. So they get a kickback from the manufacturer. The manufacturer is paying everybody. And then you as a consumer, if there's a rebate on that product, well, then that's the manufacturer that's paying you. However, whenever that transaction happens, it's actually going through 360. There's I don't know of any company that's not with 360. It's easier to just say, I don't know what company's not with 360 rather than try to figure out what company is, because there's lots. Anyway, where was I going? Yes. So lots of data. I mean, every one of these entities has data associated. We've got locations, we've got, model information, product information, descriptions, titles, categories, and then we've also got serial numbers. Oh, I love serial numbers. Oh my gosh, give me a serial number any day of the week, please. I hate products that don't have serial numbers because it's very hard to track that one product through the sales channel when there's no serial. It's pretty much impossible. It's good times. But anyway, that's why they pay me money. And then we've got incentive programs. So we know when we've offered a promotion to incentivize a sale. So much data. We've got dates, times, fantastic. So much data. I was so excited to dive into such a large data set and find insights to share with people. I was so excited. And I spent so much time learning about it, who's doing what are they doing? What is the product? Where is it going? How is it being transferred and stuff like that? I was learning, and I was aggregating and visualizing. I know a lot of you are probably doing a lot of that too. And, what possible values there were for each data point is, and then how do they relate? Because, there's so many relationships. And then, I got into trends too, plotting out the historical stuff so you can try to anticipate the future stuff. Now I'm doing a lot of forecasting, so I can kind of anticipate where it's going. But just a lot of information that I was trying to just digest and learn. And it takes a long time to really learn a company's data when you're starting out. Well, it depends. It depends on the company. This company, there's a lot of data. I've been at some other companies where the data set wasn't as complicated, but it still took a good 3-6 months to get spun up. But at 360, it's a lot, and it's awesome. So then in 2018, I started to actually deliver data visualizations. And at this point, I was taught how to use a tool called Click. It's a BI tool, a business intelligence tool. Sounds super fancy. And I'll probably show you one at some point. And so these are interactive dashboards. So usually have a series of plots, and you can actually click on a data point in one plot, and it actually filters the data on all of the plots. So it gives you the capability called drill down. And it really helps people dive into their own data without being a data scientist or a data analyst. And it just empowers them. And so all of our clients want these, all of them. And we had 2 people in the organization that knew how to build these dashboards at the time in 2018. It was me and an intern who I was working with a lot. She's now a full-time data scientist on my team, and she's awesome. But anyway, I'll go on tangents all the time. So our clients want them. They can't get enough of them. I've got a huge pipeline of work built up to deliver a whole bunch. And let's take a look at my very first dashboard that I delivered to a client. Actually, it's the first dashboard that was delivered to a client by 360. This was groundbreaking. The dashboard was intended to support the manufacturers' representatives in the sales channel. So you remember that we had the manufacturers, we had distributors and retailers. So the manufacturers had representatives, not kind of like sales reps, I guess, who were trying to push the distributors to buy the products to sell off, or just take the product to sell. So that was our end user. Is we want to help the manufacturers' representatives do their job. We want to help them be efficient. We want to help them find opportunities, and so on. Our 360 team, so product owners and you name it, they worked with the corporate stakeholders at the manufacturer to design these dashboards. And they were loving it. Corporate loved these dashboards. They're yes, I could take this into my meeting, and I can show where we're at, where we're going. It's so good. The app had 4 pages. actually originally I had 3 and then we added a 4th because corporate wanted it. We had the homepage there, which just had some high level KPIs so they could easily like pull it up on their phone or something and just boom, they could see where they're at the moment. We had a product performance page, which was just a whole bunch of aggregates wrapped around the product. So, group by product, and then what are the totals and stuff like that. We had a program performance. So that's basically talking about how the incentive programs like working. Were people engaged in the program? Like, have they made a purchase and submitted it to us so that we had a little bit of, claim data, incentive data. And then we also had whether or not they have achieved their goals, because if they achieved a goal, then they get a big giant kickback. And then the program payments page, which allowed us to kind of see where we're at for the incentive spend. So the manufacturer, corporate people, they're like, okay, like, are we within our budget? Are we not? Do we need to allocate more? Or should we like use some unused budget to like beef up one of the promotion incentives? And it was great. It was great. I worked with a stellar team. We were able to build this really quickly. Actually, most of the work with this tool is getting the data. When you have the data, click, and most BI tools, like it's drag and drop. You just be like, okay, I want this chart and I want it to hit this data point and sum this. And it's incredible how fast you can make a dashboard. The real work behind this one was actually the data pipeline. We didn't have the infrastructure at the time to support it. So I made one because I come from CS, so I could do a whole bunch of things. But typically you would have data engineers build the pipeline and then you'd have BI developers just work on the BI part. But I did it all because I can. But I had a great QA person who stayed up very late with me. I had the product owner that was working with me. We were a lean, mean machine that was just pumping out dashboards. And this was our first one. We were so happy. The client was happy. Stakeholders were just, woo, high fives. Adele was a hero. Yay, for delivering the first BI app to a client. All of them wanted it. We were like, oh, there's going to be so much revenue coming from this. And then we found out the manufacturer's representatives weren't using it at all. They weren't using it. We had like maybe 10 people using the app and 5 of them were corporate. And the reason why this is like devastating is because there's like hundreds of manufacturer representatives. Hundreds of people had access to this app and they weren't using it. They weren't using it. They weren't using my app. I was, oh my gosh, I was devastated. Like, why aren't they using it? And actually, I'm gonna look at the room chat now. And I just want to like just take a moment to look at this screen, this slide. And can you figure out where I went wrong? What happened to this project? Why did it fail? You don't need to see anything. You don't even need to look at the little snippets there, the images. Where did I go wrong in this thing? I would love to see some people maybe just start throwing ideas out in the chat. Give me some ideas. Where's my mistake? My mistake. Instructions on use. Actually, that's a good one. That's a very good one. Not the answer I'm looking for. Well, I did have to address that later on. That was one of the reasons, but it wasn't the big one. It's on the slide. A lot of data. There was a lot of data, but this was able to slice and dice it. So
actually, can we give them a hint? Is it maybe something that isn't there? Is that
no? It's on the slide. It's on the slide. It's okay. I can just give it, but like made for sales. But that's it. That's so okay. Close enough. I'm gonna give it to it. That's perfect. So we made this for the manufacturer representatives. We made it for the salespeople, but we gathered the requirements from corporate. Oh, we never talked. We never asked the manufacturer's representatives. Oh, I'm on the wrong thing. We never talked to our intended end user what they wanted. We never even consulted them. That's why corporate was using it. Corporate loved it. Corporate was all over it. And nobody else. It's because corporate designed it. They told us what questions they had. They told us what they wanted. So they loved it, and they still pay for it. Thank goodness. They still, to this date, this app is still running. But yeah, it was pretty. Oh, so I ended up talking to the reps, and I found out that the ones that were using it, they only use that one little thing. So like someone said, too much data. Yeah, it was, because anybody else that wasn't familiar with data and, you know, analytics and stuff, they got bombarded with all of this information that wasn't relevant to them. And so they're like, oh, okay. But then there was a couple people, like I said, there was like 5 manufacturer representatives that were using it. And that was the table that they won. I could probably show you the app later on. But like, the point is like, this sucked. This sucks. So why though? Why? I mean, too much data is one of them. Too much data is definitely one of them. But why else? Why aren't they using it? Why? There's so much information here that they can gain. Why? Actually, some of you had said like instructions on use. That's definitely one of the reasons why they weren't using it. But oh my God, why? I can't tell you how big of a turning point this was in my career. Like, this was huge. This was huge. I realized that I can't be just hiding behind the screen and not interacting with people to really dig into the projects and get more context. Yeah, it was just, oh gosh, it was, I can't tell you. So why? You know, I showed you the other questions before, the who, what, where, how, but the most important thing is why. Like, we can answer all those other questions with the data itself. Like, we can, it's so easy, but answering why is the hardest thing that you can answer. So I had an interview. So I interviewed the reps, definitely interviewed the reps to find out, like, I need to know more about them so that I know how I can assist them. How can I add value to their job? How can I make their job easier, more efficient, so that they can, you know, spend more time engaging their retailers and distributors. So I asked them, like, what is your daily routine like? I can't get that answer out of the data. I had to look for this information outside of the data. How do you select a retailer to call that day? That was actually a really good one. And how do you determine that one retailer needs more help than another? Like, how are they doing it right now? And then how do they help the retailer? And then just, you know, open-ended questions like, you know, what do you want to know? And then how do you want that information delivered to you? And that was interesting, the last one, because it turns out there was a couple use cases or people. Or personas, let's call them personas. There's a couple personas. We've got super old school people that are like, I don't touch a computer. I don't touch it. I use pen and paper and my cell phone, which doesn't have a screen. I don't know if that's possible. Anyway, and then we've got the, you know, little bit more data savvy people that are like, okay, I'm going to pull this up on my computer. I'm going to do the right filters that I want, and then I'm going to print it out, and then I'm going to go to the retailer or the distributor, and I'm going to talk to them. And then we got the ones that were on their iPads. They're like on the fly. They're just like jamming. Oh yeah, they were awesome. So this is what I interviewed them. And these 3 questions were actually really, really difficult, because if I could answer them, not only am I delivering insights to people, I'm delivering actionable insights. And that's a wonderful buzzword. Add it to your resume if you can. And it's basically saying that, like, with this new knowledge, you can actually do something with it. You have the next steps to go somewhere, to do something, to make business decisions off of this new knowledge. So that's very important. And I learned a lot about that and how to add value, not only to our clients' lives and business, but to our own business at 360. So as it turned out, the data visualizations were already in the app to answer these questions. I just needed to explain how to use the app to hundreds of representatives. It's kind of scary. That's kind of scary. I said no. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. But like, I'll record a video and send that to you guys. I'm like, I'm not doing it live. They wanted me to do a live thing. I'm like, no, that's too much pressure. I'm just like, no. So I recorded a video. Actually, that was funny though, because like everyone's like, oh, Adele can make a video. Okay, Adele can make a video. And then we talked to like our marketing department. And they're like, we don't got time to help you make a video. And I'm like, what do you mean? We need to save the project. And so like, it was okay, because I do have like a college diploma that I don't even talk about in multimedia design. So yeah, I made the video. It's good times. A lot of late nights and talking like this. So in the tutorial, the video tutorial, I had to cover like, how to answer their questions step by step, click by click, like very slowly. And then how to use the tool on both a computer as well as an iPad. And then a lot of them actually wanted to know exactly how the numbers were calculated. That was actually a little difficult, because the app has a lot of like auto aggregating that goes on in the background, but I was able to kind of explain it in such a way that made sense and was accurate and honest and transparent. The biggest question was the year-over-year calculations, because if you're in the middle of a year, how are you comparing that June to all of next year, right? If you're doing year-to-date June to all of it next year. And I said, no, that's actually not how it works. It's the same time span. So you're comparing the current year to date up to June to last year up to June. And they're like, okay. But that made them feel very confident in the app, because they had asked that question and they had the answer and it was clear. So, and yeah, the last point there, the most important thing, I had to present this material in such a way that I was empowering them and not making them feel stupid. And that's a little tricky, because I can get kind of arrogant too. So you have to be very like empathetic about your audience and kind of try to get as much knowledge about where they're at. So I was really happy that corporate shared that with me about like the different personas that they have that are out there, selling stuff. Because it made me like, okay, like if I was explaining this to my mom, who's like a little comfortable with computers, but she's not like, a power user. And I may have practiced with my mom teaching her things, but she's very supportive and awesome. Love my mom. So I just want to wrap up with this slide about the key lessons learned. And I maybe you guys can print this off or something when it's time for you to take on new projects. Know your audience, like really know your audience. Like don't do what I did, where I got my information from corporate, but I was designing this thing for the reps. Like that was ridiculous. Like who's actually going to receive it? What does their role entail? Get to know what they do. And then how comfortable are they with data? And then that will let you know like how much you need to explain. And also like you need to be able to explain your numbers to them. Yeah. And then why, like I only got 2 points under the why, but it's so important, because if you can articulate this, if you can articulate why what you're building is important and why someone would want to use your tool, if you can articulate that and like literally spoon feed that to them, then it's like, oh, I see the value. If they can't automatically go from point A to point B, like they're not going to pay you any money. They won't. Like we came close to, losing some projects because people didn't see the value in it. And we just had to, okay, whoa. We got to take a step back and really lead them to that. And we really changed how we presented dashboards to our clients and stuff like that under the lens of them. Like we would, I pretty much will start every meeting like, okay, I'm going to put my salesperson hat on here and, I'm having my cup of coffee and I want to know this today. Where am I going today? And then I would take them through the scenario. And then actionable insights. This is hot too. It's kind of related to like the value, the why. And it's did you bring value to your intended audience? And can someone make a decision using the information from your tool? Like that is money in the bank right there. So much money in the bank. Yeah. And then so today, I don't do dashboards anymore. But I do have to consult on those projects like every now and then. But yeah, the past 4 years have been just wild. Like it's only been 4 years since I finished my master's. It's only been 4 years. I've done a lot more than just BI, so I can't just say like this was the project that, you know, got me to where I am today. It was a combination of many, many things, mostly of which is how I communicate, not only with our clients, but internal stakeholders and teams and stuff like that. I try to be the most respectful person, open, honest, and just appreciative of everyone's roles. We've discovered that many of our clients have very similar questions. And because a lot of them do business in a similar way, not always the same, but similar. And so we started to build out BI apps that are quite generic and can be given to every client, which is a big, heavy lift, because before we were doing them very bespoke. And now we're pushing to kind of automate, scale it. Now the BI team has about 3 people on it. Like there's a whole team dedicated to just the front end, the BI tool. And we've got a couple teams actually that are data engineers that supply the data to the BI team. And yeah, I sometimes get, you know, poked and prodded to help out, to consult with either like a project or with the client to kind of help fill the gap with communicating, because I'm good at it. Apparently I've learned from my mistakes. I've learned from my mistakes and I've gotten really good at it. So, I mean, I could have made a whole career just communicating the stuff to people and gathering the requirements, asking the right questions. And yes, I have been a client-facing person. I am a client-facing person, and I do wear my cat ears. I honestly do. I don't have to pretend to be somebody I'm not. I get to be my silly tangent person. And yeah, it's been a really good time. So now, like, you know, that's the state of that team. My team is a whole bunch of data scientists that are kind of, we like to call ourselves like full stack data scientists. So I've been training them to go beyond what they went to school for. So I've got a stats and math major. She's, you know, all over data science. I'm teaching her software development and software engineering. And she's learning cloud engineering from the other teammate. And yeah, and then my other teammate, he's more of a cloud engineer and stuff like that. But yeah, so that's all I have for the slides. And now I kind of want to open it up to questions.
While you're doing that, if we can get you to multitask, you were talking about potential career opportunities. Could you, since we have such a variety of students in our capstone program, would you mind giving us sort of an idea of what type of graduates you're looking for?
Oh my gosh, like everybody. Oh man, how do I hide that? Right now we need a lot of product owners. So people to basically do what I said, like the communicating back and forth. We need a lot of that. I just got to make sure this is good. Oh no, what's happening here? User error. I'm a professional. Yeah, we need everybody. We need data people, BA people, so business analyst people. We always need business analyst people. We need UX people. We need project managers, so people that kind of help the go between the developers and, you know, either the clients or other people in the organization that manages it, or they sometimes the project manager will like kind of own a whole project, and they'll need a little bit of work done by the data engineers. They'll need a little bit of work done by UX. They'll need a little bit of work done by front end people, and so that project manager is responsible for collaborating and getting pieces of the work assigned to various teams at certain points, and trying to battle the other project managers to be like, no, you got to push back your thing and put mine in there because we need to, you know, and it's, I love project managers. I don't have one at the moment because we're an R&D lab now. So we don't have any client commitments, but if you've got client commitments, then yeah, you've got to have a project manager that can be that go-between so that the developers get a focus on the work and not have to be going into a whole bunch of meetings, like explaining like what's going on or whatever. The project manager should be able to dive into what's called a Jira board. I think you guys may be working on that a little bit, or learning a little bit about Jira boards and or Kanban and Agile and stuff like that. Jira is like a tool that delivers Agile stuff. I wish I could show you my board, but I can't. But yeah, so that's that. So this is an old kind of data set that is not real. I've had to strip out everything, but this is Click. So if you like, filter on anything, it updates everything. And when you go to like another dashboard, my filter just stayed with me. So I'm looking at Territory 2's kind of data, and year over year, and like I could even like filter on like timelines. Like it's ridiculous what's built into this. If you set up the kind of data structure in the back end properly, like it's ridiculous, and it's really plug and play. I can't even describe how plug and play it is. So much fun. There's all kinds of features. It's just drag and drop to create stuff. Actually, like we can go in the edit, and you can see like it just, I don't know. We can look at the data points. I'm like, oh, like I want this. There's some attributes. There's no code in this view to make these charts. So it's just a lot easier to just make stuff. I loved using this tool. I mean, I came from a background where I was making plots so manually using like D3 and all that stuff. And you don't need it. You don't need it. Like, I think it took me like a couple weeks to get through the professional training that was this tool. You can get this tool for free. I'm pretty sure they have like a community edition where you can download it locally and you can build dashboards up and stuff like that. And I think they have a lot of public training. But I was given the paid for training. Also, yeah, with that being said, always accept any training that your company's willing to give you. Like, just take it. Just take it, because it's resume padding. It's resume padding. Oh man, I could talk about resumes like to the cows come home. I'm obsessed with resumes. I'm obsessed with helping other people write resumes. I'm not good at my own, but I'm really good at pulling the value out of people's roles and lives and stuff like that, and then add buzzwords to the resume. But it's good times. So this is the one that they were obsessed with. The reps were like really going for, because they would select their like well, there was regional managers, and then there was territory managers. So the sales reps were usually going after their specific territory. And then here they were able to actually compare their distributors and stuff like that. Obviously, okay, some things have changed in here, but that's okay. So if we went to the quarter, they could see, okay, what is the current performance of their distributors and their things. So our territory manager would probably call up, who would he call up? I want to say this guy. He's looking pretty low. Also, this distributor has like a ton of warehouses and stuff. Yeah, he may want to call them. He may want to call all of them. But what he would do is he would pick a distributor. And this is not very useful anymore. Like, this is not very useful. He knows he's going to call this one, but now he wants to find out what am I gonna push on him. Well, he can kind of go over to like, maybe the product one and be like, look, you know what, here we go. You've got so many sales in this product line. Maybe we can look at some of these other ones. To try to beef them up. And then sometimes they'll kind of look, okay, well, what are all the good product lines? Okay, so 6985 was a really, really good one. They're not even selling it. 69 something. It's like, is it in here? Is it in their list? So yeah, so that sales rep could be like, look, like this is one of the top product lines that are being sold in your area, and you haven't even scratched it. Would you like to buy some? Because it's selling like hotcakes and we want you to be able to sell. I should just be a salesperson. Okay, I'm going back. Certificates, cough. What is that, cough? I need context. June.
We gave them opportunity at the beginning of this, or but first month of the semester, to do Coursera or similar type courses and certifications, because through Professor Gaudette, they didn't have to pay. Not all of them gave the actual certificates, because you know how those systems work, but it was 2, 3, 4, 5 hour sessions where they could get these little mini badges. And we kept telling them, I don't know if they believed us, but you know, the resume padding.
It's resume padding. So yeah, so I love that. Yes, certificates. Oh my gosh, you need the certificates. Choreograph and develop this software. I did not make this software. This is Click. I did not make Click. It's QLIK. Click. You could probably go to click.com. I think that's. I did not make this software. Oh my gosh, we bought this software, or we have a license to it. I've gone to conferences. I've met these people. They're great. They've got this thing. I don't think we use that yet. I don't know. I wouldn't know. I'm not on the BI team anymore. Woohoo. But yeah, like everyone's using the software. It makes things so much faster, and your turnaround to deliver, these flashy dashboards is just incredible. But yeah, definitely you want to get the certificates and stuff. If you did a Coursera course and you didn't get the certificate, I'm pretty sure you have the option to get it. So even if you don't pay for it right now because money's tight, just about every company that you could possibly, work at will have some kind of training budget. So you would just clear it with your manager, be like, hey, I want to get the certificate, even though you've done the course. Would my employer be willing to reimburse me if I paid for it? And they'll like always say yes, because it makes your boss look good, because your boss is like, I'm encouraging my team to continue learning and stay like cutting edge. So like they want to help you too. They definitely want to help you because by helping you, it makes them look good. And like, as somebody who does have, I have like, the team and a direct report and stuff like that. Yeah, I use it on my review. I say, look, I supported, so-and-so and encouraged and motivated them to take this extra learning on Coursera. I get them to do Coursera. Yeah, Tableau is one. I've never used Tableau. Actually, most of our clients have asked us to give them Click apps so that they can get rid of their Tableau apps. So Tableau is a little bit older. Click is definitely shiny and new. And same with, there's a Microsoft one that I don't like, that I've had to rip apart. Yeah, Power BI, that one. I mean, you're going to be forced to learn at least one of them if you go into this area, and they're all very similar.
We actually have a team, Adele, right now that's working on that had to learn Power BI for a client project. And I think that they could probably attest to its usefulness, but it was definitely a deep dive for learning for them.
Yes, I think Power BI is a lot harder to learn than Click. At least when I had to dive into an existing Power BI app, I was like, whoa.
So there's Victoria chiming in. I'm quite proud of that team. They had to learn 2 or 3 different platforms to get their project rolling. But it's I think I sold them on it. I'm pretty sure I sold them on it, how useful it'll be for outside school.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like you can get jobs doing Power BI, like hands down. There's little dev shops in Toronto that all they do is do Power BI, where a company will, ask them, we want you to build an app on our infrastructure in Power BI, because it's so well adopted. It's very well adopted, so that it's not going anywhere. It's not. Power BI is not going anywhere, but Click is definitely getting more and more market share. It's up and coming. If you know Power BI, it'll take 2 seconds to learn Click. I'll tell you right now. And then you would have both under your belt. But and I would also say, like, you kind of do need to learn Tableau too, if you're going to be focusing on delivering, dashboards. Because if the client is not willing to have you host the dashboard, then you got to use whatever BI tool it is that they are using, and do it on their platform, which, like, it is what it is. So you may have to learn like all of them, but at least I'm telling you right now, Click will probably be one of the easiest ones to learn. So maybe focus on the other ones. Yes. Any other questions? Got lots of time. At least I think I do.
You have all the time you want until 10:59 a.m.
Oh, geez. I don't got that much content.
Well, we have filler too, but I'm just saying, if you want to keep going, I think we're enthralled.
What else could I talk about? I've got a soapbox. Is anyone interested in data science? I had to go there. I had to ask. Oh, that is a good question, Mackenzie. How do you select the key metrics to visualize when you're handed a pile of data? Oh, well, so for my own personal investigation, I do all of them. I do a lot of aggregating sums. I want to see what the average is, the medians. I want to see the distribution of values and stuff like that. If it's a categorical data, then I want to see what's in there. And I will go through and I'll look at everything. Lots of eyes, because I found that, even if something is in production, you may have some test data still in there, and you may not really see that unless you look at the data, or at least do a search on the word test, because it happens. Once I've done my own kind of analysis and just kind of see what is available, I'll go talk to people. I go talk to people. So internally, usually corporate tells me what metrics they want, or at least what questions they have. And then I have to come up with some kind of calculation to meet that. Typically, I start with Google, how did somebody else calculate this? What is the industry standard? You don't want to just come up with something on your own, because you have to justify it. And if your answer is well, I just thought it would work, is not good enough. You need to back it up by information about why it's a good decision, and not just your opinion. If you can't answer anything I feel like it would be good, that is not an answer. You need to justify it with facts. That sounds pretty harsh to be no one cares about your feelings, but no one does. They care about facts. So you got to back it up with facts. Smart server today. Ones that make the most money. Brad, what are you saying? You're asking who makes the most money?
I think he's talking about key metrics.
Oh, what metrics make the most money?
Usually manufacturers care about the bottom line. So
yeah,
they want to know where they're making money, and they want to know where they're losing money. Yeah,
so I would say ROI is probably one of the most common things that I'm asked for. And so I usually do a lot of ROI. So their spend, at least with 360, would be the incentive spend. And then we compare that to their sales. We don't get a lot of sales data, but if they know that I'm going to be diving into it, they usually give it to us, which is good times. And then I have to find a database to throw it into to do analysis. But it's, so ROI is huge. So incentives versus spend. Oh, actually, I think I've got a BI app. Oh, I could show you the one that everyone just goes crazy for. It is such a good app. Hold on. Just have to make sure it is white labeled. This one. Oh my gosh. This is the, oh man, I'm stuck. There we go. This is the one. So this is fake data. So this doesn't look as close to reality as it would for most of our clients. But we've got sales on the y-axis, year-over-year sales. Year-over-year sales. So that's sales growth. And then we've got the incentive spend. So this is the spend. So combining these two things, we kind of know what the ROI is on different retailers. And what we expect to see is basically that their growth in sales would also kind of mimic their growth in incentives. Because if they sell more, then they would receive more incentives, right? You would think. Or if they're incentivized a lot, it's because they have increased their sales. So we kind of expected a correlation. And what we ended up finding mostly is that we would get a cone. which you're missing on this because it's fake data. We would see a cone. So for the most part, everyone's kind of aligned. However, oh my gosh, this chart kind of blew everyone's mind when we delivered it, because we found some really interesting retailers that found some way to manipulate the program where they had very little sales, and a large amount of incentive. And that just like, whoa, buddy, we need to investigate this. So that not only did it allow us to find, oh, you know what, these people their sales are down and their incentives are down, or we're gonna go talk to them, or their sales are up, but they haven't been incentivized as much. We want to help them with the program. We want to, because at least 360 wants to help them with the program, because we get money every time a claim is made. And so, and the manufacturer wants to keep promoting the program because it makes them happy. So if one of their reps went out to that retailer and said, hey, you're making all these sales, but you're not submitting your claims. Like, do you want some help? Because, there's turnover everywhere. And that would help them, stay with that manufacturer. But yeah, when we found a lot of high incentives, but low sales or negative sales, like something like this, that's when we're like, oh, something's going on there. We have to find out what's going on. And actually, like, there's been some interesting insights gained. So we found out that people were buying a lot of product when it was on sale the previous year and then hanging on to it until it goes on sale. So their sales was of a different year than what they were actually selling it to a consumer. It was, yeah. So this is sales from the manufacturer to the retailer. And the incentive happens when they sell it, I believe. Yes. So it was really interesting how they were able to kind of manipulate the program in that way. And I do have I have another like major plot. I don't think I have one that's white labeled. It's not in an app. It's something that I started to deliver to people like manually, because it was like program efficiency. So we were able to kind of do a cumulative sum of the percentage of incentives. And it basically showed like, oh, you know what, your first like 3 programs, your top 3 programs actually has like 80% or 90% of your incentive. So all these other programs that you have, they add very little value to your program. So we could just cut them out, trim the fat, and just focus on these 5. So that was a really good one too. We've had some, this one, I could probably just sell this like every day, all day, and make a bunch of money. Just this one plot. Well, it's nice to have the table because then you can get a little bit more information like the ROI and stuff like that. But yeah, and the size of the dots is the dollar amount of sales, I think, year to date. I think that's how we did it. Oh boy, now the chat, I haven't been looking there. And my mouse is being weird. And you're in healthcare, these people are tight with money. I don't think we have many healthcare. Some of our manufacturers do provide products to healthcare industry. Yes, we have a couple clients that do. I guess money's tight. I wouldn't know. I haven't been on that project in a long time. Give an example of an incentive. The closest examples that I can give would be you, Brad. If you were to buy a dishwasher, and on the little promotional thing, it says, oh, you can get like $100 rebate if you buy this from Best Buy. So you buy the dishwasher from Best Buy, you have your invoice, and it has instructions on the promotion to say, go to this link to submit your invoice for a rebate. And it'll like come up. It's like, oh, it's like Whirlpool rebates or something like that. And you're actually talking with 360 when you do that. Like if you call there, you're like, oh, there's something wrong with my rebate. Why hasn't it come in yet? You're calling in, and the person on the line is answering the phone and saying, Whirlpool rebates or something like that. I have no idea. I've never called in. And they just, that's actually 360. We've got a call center. So we do all of it. We handle the transactions, but we also support the transactions. We support the programs with the call center. And so 360 is incentivized to make the transactions go through very smoothly, because if they don't go smoothly, then our call volume goes up. So that's whether or not we're doing a good job, we can tell by the volume of calls that the call center is getting. For the most part, the rebates and incentives are pretty automatic, and anything that wasn't, like, we're getting more and more and more automated. The company was started in like 2008, and we're growing a lot right now. I can't express to you, even during COVID, even like I think we did like 2 more acquisitions after COVID started. Like that's how good this industry is in, even though, supply chain and everything slowed down. And yes, our revenue slowed down because of it, but it didn't stop. If anything, it just allowed us the opportunity to buy up other companies that are in a similar industry, and we were able to kind of add their tools and stuff like that and their services to our platform. So it's been absolutely amazing. So consumer rebates, I talked about that one. Another really good example is people that work in retail as sales associates. They get spiffs. So a spiff is an incentive that your salesperson gets. If you buy that dishwasher, if you buy that Whirlpool dishwasher, your sales associate that said, you know what, this is a really good dishwasher and it's on sale. If they're pushing one product to you more than another, it's probably because there's an incentive. It's probably because they're going to get a kickback from the manufacturer if they sell you that dishwasher over a comparable one somewhere else. Like that's pretty much like the best examples that I can give. We do have like other incentive programs, some that are tied to advertising and stuff, but I don't even want to just dive into that, because every time I have to dive into it, it's like I have to relearn it all over again.